So I'll just start with a quick presentation and then I'll walk you through the actual report itself. So after speaking with MSPs, we found there were a bunch of challenges that they were coming up against when launching new products. So one is just getting the time associated to be able to launch the product in terms of learning it and being able to articulate it to your clients. Obviously, MSPs are very busy. Having the sales and marketing resources in-house, so it's relatively uncommon that an MSP will have a sales and marketing team. So us passing across sales and marketing assets, sometimes doesn't help them very much. They need something that's a bit simpler to generate leads. And then growth. There's a lot of MSPs in the UK market, about 10,000, I think, and they all do very similar things. So, how do they differentiate from one another? And so we've looked at that, and we've tried to create something that is unique to being a uSecure partner, and also is something that can differentiate them from their competition. So we call this the Human Risk Report, or HRR for short, and it delivers two things. So it delivers a human risk score, so we can tell an organization through going through this process how big a risk their employees are from a cyber perspective. Now that is calculated out of 900, so it's very similar to a credit score, so it should be something that's relatively familiar to partners. And we also calculate something called time to breach. So we basically give them a timeline which says if someone was to attack you now, how long would it be in a worst case scenario until you were breached? Okay, so we calculate the risk score by analyzing multiple data points. We merge them into one report, and then we give them the remediation path. So it's essentially telling them this is your risk score. This is what that means to you as a business, Mr. Client, and this is how you remediate that. And the remediation steps are built to present directly into the uSecure product set. I'll go into that in a bit more detail on the actual report itself. With the time to breach, we just take those data points and we apply a time frame to it, and then we give them a point A to point B timeline, which tells them how long it would take them to get breached. Now, this is probably the most important aspect of the risk report process to understand. So, it's a sales and marketing tool. It's designed to help MSPs generate more business. It's designed to help them win new customers. So it has to be very low barrier to entry. So essentially, all you need to do to get the risk report process started is enter an email address into the uSecure platform. Now, what that means is you can go out and talk to prospects and offer them this service, or you can have a collect field on your website, which can set this up straight from there from lead capture. But at each step that we go through with the risk report, we ask for a little bit more commitment from the client. So the initial domain scan that we do is just off the email address, and that will tell them a whole bunch of stuff about their domain. And then the second step is that we're going to use uBreach to do the dark web and known breach scan. So to do that, we need a sample of their data, or we need connection to Office 365, so a little bit more commitment. And then the final step is that we're going to do the phishing simulation. Again, more commitment, because we need authority to run the phishing simulation, and we need to whitelist our IPs. When they finally get the report, they've gone through a process which is called commitment engineering. What this means is that when they get the report and we're trying to turn them into a paid customer, the percentage chance that they will turn into a paid customer is much higher, because the client has some skin in the game and doesn't want to lose that investment. So the reason why this is really important is because marketing approaches like this are just littered with tools that promise the earth and don't deliver anything, because they're very much a high volume scattergun approach. This is designed so that MSPs that invest in this will see a high percentage conversion from prospect to customer, and will see real value in it. There is a little bit more work to do, but the work put in means you get a high yield of positive results on the other side. So it's really important when we articulate this to MSPs that we explain to them that it's not something that they're just going to be able to fire out and win loads of business. There is a little bit of work for them to do, and there is a little bit of work for the client to do. Okay. So in terms of how we solve those challenges, there's no training required to use this. You can literally just, once you enter that first email into the platform, it is fully automated, and you don't need any training on the uSecure platform to understand how to work it. We literally handhold you all the way through. It's simple and automated, so you don't need a sales and marketing division to articulate this to a prospect. It literally is a case of, would you like a human risk report, Mr. Customer? Yes, okay, please can I have your email address? And that's how we start. And it will help you win new clients. So the way in which we're positioning this with MSPs is we're saying, look, we know that uSecure is not going to be the highest value or highest value product you sell, and it's not going to be the biggest margin opportunity for you. That's for an MSP. That's always going to be the service offering. So, but what uSecure is really good at, and what the risk report is really good at, is to get them into a new client, get that client billing, and then they can land and expand and use this as an opportunity, almost like a Trojan horse, to get them into new accounts and help building those high revenue, high margin opportunities for their business. The way in which the platform works is it looks very, almost identical to uService. The only difference is that we have these key task blocks at the top. Basically, those key tasks mean that you can always check in and see what you need to do next in your process with the risk report. And there's 4 steps to completing the risk report. So, as we mentioned, domain scan, breach scan, phishing simulation, and then delivering the report and turning them into a paid customer. But the task section at the top just means that you've always got a high level view of what you need to do next. Okay, so we see this as helping MSPs win business in 3 areas. So number 1, they can take it out straight away and hand it to any of their customers that are not currently using uSecure, and we expect high conversion in that area. If they're in conversations with prospects, but they want to speed up the sales cycle, this is a great tool to do it. It's totally free and really easy to use. And then obviously there's the more broad brush, just trying to win net new business. So going out there using this as part of your marketing campaigns, of which we provide all the information. So what I'll do is I'll just skip into the report itself. So this is what the report looks like, and it's delivered via email. So on the top left, you can see the uSecure brand name, but if they have white label settings set up, we will just pull in the MSP's logo and color scheme. At the top right, you can see the risk score, and out of 900, as mentioned, that's actually gated until the end of the report is delivered. And then, so these are the steps. So firstly, we deliver the domain scan. That will tell you what connected domains, connected services, lookalike domains, and connected applications there are from your domain. Now, the reason why this is important and how we articulate this is we say, look, cyber criminals are out there looking for businesses to attack every day. They use systems like this to determine which companies they want to attack. Things like connected domains and lookalike domains help them understand how they could present a URL that would fool someone into clicking on it. Connected services and connected applications help them understand what services and applications your business is using. That means they can dress up a social engineering attack like a phishing email to present itself as a service or an application you're using. So think of it, if you're using Salesforce, they can pretend to be Salesforce, and they know that you're likely to be receiving communication from that vendor. So a phishing email pretending to be that vendor is more likely to succeed. So this is cyber criminals out there looking to determine, are you a good company to attack? The next step is the breach scan. So this is uBreach. So we'll connect to Office 365, or we'll take a sample of data and we'll tell them, are any of those users in high risk, medium risk, or low risk breaches? Obviously, the high risk breaches are the ones with passwords associated. And the final step is the phishing campaign. So the phishing campaign will tell them who opened the email, who visited the landing page, and who was compromised. All of this content in here is smart content when we talk about what the risk implications are. So dependent on the results of the assessment, depends on what we say here. And also these boxes here are interactive. So you can actually click on the plus icons here, open them up, and you can see more data about each step. Once we've done that, we calculate what's called the time to breach. So the time to breach is a timeline for how long it would potentially take for this business to get breached. So the research period is the domain scan. So domain scan is cyber criminals looking to determine, are you a good company to attack? The more information they can see about your business, the more quickly they can make that decision. The acquiring assets and emails is based on the uBreach breach scan. So the more information that there is about your business in known breaches and the dark web, the quicker they can find it and the shorter that time period is. Creating a targeted phishing attack is just a set amount of time to get a domain from GoDaddy and create the attack. And then the launch attack to breach is based on the compromise page here. So in this one, it's 1 minute. So obviously, when we do simulations like this, the simulation generally has the most amount of compromises in the shortest amount of time. It's just generally what happens is, either people will sort of long tail miss it, or they'll notify other people that it's available. So you normally get the compromises very quick. So the actual breach section is usually very short. If there's no breaches or compromises in the phishing attack, the report defaults back to the landing page visit, and then defaults back to the open email visit. So it's never a case of that it will just say nothing here and we couldn't complete the time to breach score. We'll always complete a timeline for the client. So we do have to caveat this, because MSPs may be providing things like firewall, antivirus, web filtering services to the client. So what you have to say is this is based on the attack that gets through all of those, of which one phishing email always will. We provide them with a summary and conclusion statement about the document, and then we tell them what they can do to reduce the risk. So if you want to reduce the risk, you need to do training, you need to introduce security policies, you need to run regular phishing assessments, and you need to keep scanning the dark web and looking at breach exposure details to see if your information's in there. So these map directly into uBreach, uPhish, uPolicy, and uLearn. So the 4 component products from uSecure that are part of the MSP's managed service. Okay, so we've given them a full business case. We've given them a full summary and conclusion statement, and then we've told them how to remediate these issues. Now, at this point, the MSP will then get a notification that says, do you want to turn this client into a paid customer, or do you want to put them on a free trial? Thanks. Bye.